what I really loved was being another soul with another soul. So I graduated as an optometrist and I was working with the clients and obviously helping people to see better, vision, yes, looking after people's retinas and giving them clarity on some level. And through this work, I realized that, oh, what I really love about this job, though it's beautiful, helping people to see, people would be seemingly coming for an eyesight test, but really within a few moments, they would start to pour out their stories of loss and longing and grief. So, in amongst that, I did a PhD in psychophysics, which is an area that looks at how does the brain interpret the visual scene?
Yes.
How do we make sense of what we see and what happens, because there's a whole bunch of top-down and bottom-up processes that happen and whole sorts of data sorting and my area was looking at how do the rods see in the dark and how can we improve people's vision in the dark. And then one day I was talking to kind of one of the senior people within that group, and I was telling him about my life path. And I said, oh, yes, I help people to see. My research area was helping people to see in the dark. And he just looked at me and said, yes, that's your gift. That's what you do. You help people see in the shadow, in the dark. And it kind of, I think that was the moment when I thought, I think that was about a year or two before COVID. But that was the moment when I thought, oh, that's what I've been doing.
It blows my mind how often the literal and the metaphorical are hand in hand in so many ways. It's blowing my mind. So helping people to literally see outwardly better is and now you are helping people see inwardly better. Yes. Just beautiful.
Yes. And it's like the universe was just pointing this big arrow and saying, this is what you're doing. COVID was a really beautiful time for me because I took a little break from my lecturing and from the clinical side of things and thought, why not retrain in psychotherapy? And it's so funny because the moment I started to relax into what the universe was pointing me to be, then the voice just opened up. I didn't have to actually heal anything. I didn't have to force anything. It just, so strong is the fear of using the voice and being seen.
Yes.
And it's so paradoxical because on the one hand, we crave to be seen, yes?
Yes.
And on the other, being seen means, what if people don't like me? What if they criticize me? What if they reject me? So it's such a hard place to be. And it makes me think of that, going back to that wounded healer notion.
Yeah.
And also Jung has this fantastic quote, and I'm going to paraphrase here. A tree branches can only reach up to the heavens if the roots reach down to the depths of the hell. Yes.
Yes.
And it's the same with a human being. We're in between this kind of supreme light and beauty and the darkness of the dark. And if we can harness the power of the shadow and the dark, everything that kind of triggers us about someone else in the apparent outer world is really everything that we haven't claimed, that we haven't owned, or that we disowned and we pushed it down. As a coping mechanism, I don't think any of this is a conscious.
No.
We unconsciously, we almost have to do it as a way of self-preservation. So, and the so-called shadow is really just wounded, injured, quite often very young parts of ourselves that were pushed into situations where they weren't able to cope.
Yeah.
And so we do fear it, yes, because it's been locked away for so long. Maybe it's acquired secondary trauma and secondary burdens now.
Yeah.
And now it feels like quite a big, powerful thing. And really, when we come to it, it's like it's a small child with tear-stained cheeks that
Yeah.
just wants to be held.
Yeah.
Even the so-called, even the narcissistic parts, yes, even they are calling out for love. And what I love in A Course in Miracles, there's that lovely quote about everything is either love or a call for love.
I love that.
Yeah. Now it's a bit tricky to see a call for love when someone is going at you. It's a bit tricky to look past that and actually see the innocence and the beauty that they truly are.
Yes.
But everything is a call for love. The way we attempt to get that love met may not be healthy, both for us and for the others.
Yeah.
But underneath that, there's often a very small child that just wants its mummy. So we're not just really one. So what I mean by that is, if I was to ask you now, would you like to go out for a drink after this? You might have different parts. One part might say, yeah, sure. Another part might think, oh, no, I've got something else. Another part, maybe if you're trying to go alcohol free, would have some other views about this. Maybe if you had an alcoholic parent, you might have another part. So you might have 4 or 5 different parts that would be pulling you in different ways. One that says, yes, I want to go for a drink, and another that would say no, and everything in between. So what I love about this model is that I suppose the I that we call ourselves is just really multiple parts. Now, why is that a useful thing for healing and for therapy? If you have a frequent part of yourself that says, I'm worthless and I should die, if you truly take on board that that's all that you are, and that's the entirety of you, that's a hard sell. That's hard. That's
Yeah.
hard to deal with. But if you understand that that's a part of you, and that this part might have a valid reason for saying this to you in your subvocal voice,
Yes.
and that it thinks it's protecting you and keeping you safe by doing so, then we can let go of so much burden. It's like, oh, wait, this isn't truly who I am. Who I am is the self, which I'll talk about in a moment now. But this is a part of me that for some reason has taken on this voice, this belief, this energy.
Yeah.
And so can I be loving? Can I see that it's calling out for love? Yes.
Yeah.
And can I attend to it? Can I see what it's asking? Can I figure out what it's made it be like this? What role does it have? So we have different parts, and the roles that the parts have are not what the natural quality of these parts are. So they're just the burdens. So the
Yeah.
burdens are the traumas that we have as we go through life. So every time our parent is not able to soothe us, to attune to our needs, so we have, little traumas and bigger traumas. But every time we go through a trauma, that kind of attaches itself to the part.
Yeah.
And then the part sees itself then not through the lens of this beauty and love and innocence that we truly are, but through the lens of the trauma, and
Yeah.
often the harsh voice of the person who caused this. Yeah. Often
Yeah.
our caregiver. So often our inner critics will take on the voice of the parent, of mum, dad, brother, parent, teacher. Yeah.
Yes.
So first of all, it's to recognize that these parts are not who we truly are, and that if we treat them with care, with curiosity, with compassion, with kindness, they'll open up to us and they'll say, actually, I don't like doing this. I don't like to have this negative voice, but I don't know how to let go of it.
Yes.
And so then we turn to ourselves, to our true self, who's really an effortless guide in the inner world. It can take a little while to sort of dig out self, and
Yes.
for us to see that, oh, I'm not this negative voice, I'm not this shame, I'm not this anger, this grief. There's something in me that has so much spaciousness, calm, clarity, compassion,
Yes.
and really kind of orchestrate and integrate the inner world. So one of the nicest metaphors for this kind of parts and self is that it's like we're an orchestra. Yes.
Yes.
Different, very talented musicians attempting to play, but through the lens of their burdens and the trauma. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we get the self on board, self that is our true self, that is here, covered under these layers of parts, when we get that on board, it can seamlessly orchestrate and really integrate so that we start to play a beautiful melody.
I suppose it will be a good idea to explain to people non-duality. I mean, this is a huge part of the overarching theme of the book. Getting in touch with yourself is getting in touch with everything.
Yes, that's right. I mean, you've pretty much summed it. It's about this mirroring, and it sort of goes back to this: whatever's on the inside is on the outside, outside and inside. The way I look at it is that we're not separate. Yes.
Yeah.
So essentially, essence or consciousness or universe or whatever we want to call it is one.
Yes.
Because we can go round and round in a circle, chasing our own tail, going, well, wait, if I'm not real and you're not real and none of this is really here, then what's the point? And then we can end up in all sorts of rabbit holes doing that. But really, the way I look at it is that, you see, I'm there now. I close my eyes and here we are. It's perfect, it's peaceful, and it's self. And I know that you're there right now too. Yes?
Yeah.
So it's always here, this non-dual presence. In fact, presence is key for this. Bessel van der Kolk says that the hallmark of trauma is our inability to be present in the present moment. Yes, we get hijacked. So where is the past then? Well, the past is always now.
Yes.
It's always now.
Yes. Everything is always now.
Everything is always now. So being here now, being present now, all these teachings from the spiritual teachings and the kind of trauma experts teaching from people like Bessel van der Kolk, it's all pointing the same way: presence. Just be here now, just be present. If you can't be, can you at least be conscious of the fact that I just need to bypass this?
Yes.
Can I park this here? I'll come back for you, part of myself, but I just need a bit of lightness now. Okay,
Yes.
cool. It's not about being some kind of perfect guru monk sitting on top of a mountain and perfectly calm. Neither is it about being kind of disorganized, It's more about just riding the waves in presence as they come. An IFS therapy session is very much like a psychedelic trip in itself without taking the psychedelics. Psychedelics are a fantastic fast track opportunity to really become the architect, your own therapist, your own healer. I have zero doubt that this is the next latest kid on the block, because Manchester, he has got one of the biggest research units in Europe on psychedelics.
Amazing.
The root of shame is someone knows better than I know. Yes, that is the root of shame. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. And so I will hand myself over to you, guru, teacher, lover, on a silver platter. The etymological root for the words heal, holy, health, and whole is the same. Yeah?
Yeah.
Turn around and look at the preciousness within. Every possible piece of wisdom that's ever been written is in you. That which you seek is already in you, as you, closer than your breath. We're all coming home. We're all walking each other home. All of you who listen right now, we're walking home.
If I could sing or play an instrument for you, I would sing and play an instrument for you. If I could dance for you, I would dance for you. If I could paint for you, I would paint for you. But my thing is words. But the problem about words is that you may listen